what's going on? It's Ashe here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. How you guys doing? Welcome to the video. Today we're going to talk about rare champions, back-to-back rare champion videos on the channel here. Yesterday I kind of talked about every single rare I've ever invested in on my account and why, where I use them, what artifacts I have on them. In case you missed that video, link in the description below. Today, my top 10 from 10 to 1 best rare nukers in the arena. I was originally going to make this video just straight up rare champions, but then I actually realized I was surprised. There's a decent amount of rare champions that are actually good in the arena. I could not narrow it down to 10, so we're going to make today's video just nukers, and then maybe we'll make kind of a support category as well, because there's a lot of good rare support champions out there. Let's start with number 10. It's Galek, one of the starting champions in the game. He actually deals a lot of damage, right? Especially off this A2 ability. It's a 4.5 multiplier, a hard-hitting rare champion, right? Better than your average rare champion. You could say the same thing about all the 4 starting rare champions. Attacks all enemies. And by the way, guys, you do want to have, just in case some of the newer viewers watching right now, you want to have a 100% crit rate, 100% crit rate on all of your arena nukers. Usually your arena nuker can go last on your team after your speed boosters, your buffers, your debuffers, etc. Yeah, want to have them, you know, not so slow. You want to put speed boots normally on these champions as well. And you usually want to go ahead and get savage artifacts on them and Helm Smasher tier 6 option. So that's kind of how you build a nuker. Ruthless Ambush, Opportunist, also great masteries to take a look at on no matter who you are, a rare, epic, legendary arena nuker. Anyway, Hellraiser attacks all enemies, has an extra 15% chance of inflicting a critical hit, so you can build him to 85% crit, at least on this ability. Places an increased speed buff on this champion for 2 turns as well. Hey, he gets the job done. Deals a lot of damage, right? Next one is going to be very, very interesting champion who I want to actually put a guide out for soon. One of the hardest hitting champions in the game. He's a single target nuker, so not an AoE nuker, but man, force affinity, which is really good because there's a lot of magic affinity champions, especially, you know, kind of when you're Great Hall farming, right? In gold arena, there's a lot of magic champions, so Orgrim has the affinity matchup there.
It's what you hear it, listen. It's what you hear it, listen.
No, don't. It's too late. Come on, dude, don't. It's already in motion. Well, put it out of motion! You pissed me off.
Check this out, guys. This is insane. This is a skull crown killer right here. Attacks one enemy, has a 40, 50, 60, 75% chance of stealing 2 random buffs from the target, places an extra hit if the buff is stolen. This has an insane 6 multiplier on it, guys. That's a lot. That's a lot of damage, even for an epic or legendary champion, right? His A3 has a 6.2 damage multiplier with a damage increase of 20% if the target has no active buffs. So if they have buffs, you use the A2. If they don't have buffs, you use the A3. This guy can be a lot of fun in the arena. Again, look out for a guide on this champion coming soon. That's number 9. Number 8 is going to be a dwarf champion, guys. None other than another guy that we don't really talk about here. Where are you, Payne Smith? He looks kind of mean, right? He looks like a nuker. He looks like he's gonna mess you up in the dark corner somewhere. Dark alleyway, right? Dark corner. Anyway, he has insane multipliers as well, guys. He has a block revival. A rare champion with a 5.9 single target multiplier block revival. That's, you know, puts him in a small category of 1, right? So, attacks 1 enemies, block revival, plays a block debuff buff on this champion for 2 turns if the attack kills an enemy, which it usually does. Very, very underrated ability. And on his A3, a 6 multiplier with an increased damage of 15% if the target has no active buffs. So very similar in some ways to Orgrim Jailer, except for he brings the block revive. Payne Smith, very underrated rare champion. Now, I might have this guy ranked a little high. I'm kind of biased. It's Ashe. Coming in at number 7, guys, Ashe Walker. I love this dude, right? If you kill an enemy, he resets the cooldown of his A2, but we're not here to talk about A1s. Talking about his A2, first of all. Good multipliers on his A2, right? Not as much as Payne Smith or Orgrim Jailer, but he can also stun them, right? Having an 85% chance of stun is really solid, even on a single target for a rare champion. And then it decreases the turn meter of all enemies by 10% if the attack is critical. Nice to have that turn meter control built into the ability. And then he has a strong AoE attack as well with the weak version of Weaken. We say this all the time here on the channel, guys, but even the weak version of Weaken, do not discount that ability. It increases all damage by 15% on all enemies. So he's kind of a nice setup champion if you have kind of 2 nukers or a hybrid on the team as well, as long as he's going first with that debuff, or if he comes back around, it can also help again with the control. So I like Ashe Walker a lot. Next up, number 6 is going to be Bellower. So Bellower is just an all-around jack-of-all-trades champion. He's really good, right? He's just really good. He has an AoE on his A1 with block active skills. Now, only a 30% chance of landing it, but it's a very powerful debuff to have in the arena especially. On the A2, he has decreased speed with a higher multiplier, and on his A3, he's bringing decreased attack and decreased defense. So depending on what utility and what role you want him to serve, he can be a nuker with his A3 and place decreased attack, mitigating, you know, the damage the other team puts on you, and at the same time debuffing as well with the weak version of decreased defense, which sometimes that's all you have. You know, you might not have, you know, I guess everybody has War Maiden, right? You can farm her. You know, she's coming up soon.
Please, don't hate me.
But really, you know, I think that the fact that even if you don't kill anybody on one AoE attack, you come back in with another hard-hitting AoE attack, and when you build Bellower with crit damage on the gauntlets with 100% crit rate, he can actually smack, dude. Like, he can do some serious damage. So Bellower is number 6. We just said her name, but it's War Maiden. So War Maiden is very special. First of all, everybody can get her, I believe, stage 8 or 9, the desert level in campaign. War Maiden is a debuffer with decreased defense, the big version, but people discount how much damage War Maiden can land on the opponents. Honorable mention to a champion like Dagger, but War Maiden, excuse me, is so much better than Dagger, right? Dagger has a 75% chance to land a decreased defense, albeit being a void champion, but War Maiden is Force with a 100% chance on a 3-turn cooldown, and she deals a lot more damage, and she's not quite as squishy as Dagger, although she is pretty squishy. They're probably the same level of squishiness. A little bit more HP though on War Maiden. I love her because she can actually stack up the damage on top of being a debuffer for your squad. Next up is going to be, one of my personal favorites, guys. It's none other than Soulbound Bowyer. I love Soulbound Bowyer, guys.
You betrayed me.
She has an AoE on the A1, so you can put her in an avenging set. 45% chance to counterattack when she's hit with a critical hit, and she can smack AoEs as a counterattack in the arena. So that's a very, very fun option. It's kind of like a very powerful retribution built in when you have that avenging in her kit with that strong AoE attack. She has an extra 25% chance of inflicting a critical hit on every single one of her abilities, so you only have to build her with 75% crit rate, which gives you the luxury of putting crit damage gauntlets on her, especially in the early game. It's easier to actually get the gear to be able to do that, right? So I love that. And then she has a hard-hitting infused arrow ability, single target nuker, ignoring 75% of the target's defense. So if you put her in Savage instead of Avenging, you're going to ignore 100% of defense. Helm Smasher, you get a 50-50 ignoring 100% of defense. On the Soulbound shot, her A3, another great ability, a chance of fully depleting the target's turn meter, 100% chance on a 4-turn cooldown. Whatever you're looking for, Soulbound Bowyer has you covered. I really, really like this champion. One of my favorite rares in the entire game. Next up is going to be another one of the starting champions. Where are we right now? Number 3, my bad. So we're in the top 3 here, guys. Elhane is so good. Really good. Underrated, if you will, in the arena, I think, right? She has an AoE on her A2 and an AoE on her A3. Valley of Death is attacks all enemies 2 times. A valley of hard-hitting arrows, right? So a very strong AoE attack with a double hitter. Her A2 attacks 1 enemy with solid multipliers, then all enemies, extra 15% chance of a crit, and an increased crit rate on this champion for 3 turns. Count them 3 on a 4-turn cooldown if the target is killed. I think Elhane is great. You can ability to be kind of a fast nuker as well at 107 speed. I really do think that, you know, Galek, Elhane, Athel's not on the list, but I think that Athel's one of the best starters. I think she's probably the best starter, or, you know, I don't know. It depends on what you need, right? But a triple hitter, big version of Weekend on the A1, grant an extra turn, self-buff ability. I think that all the starters tend to be, just because they're kind of free and they're starting champions, tend to be overvalued by some, not all, inside the game. Number 2 is going to be the other starting champion, right? And it's going to be, of course, Kale. Kale is most people's arena nuker, right? For a long time in this game. And you can get by with Kale's Acid Rain ability for a long time. He gets the job done, right? Attacks all enemies, has an extra 15% chance of inflicting a critical hit, so again, 85% crit rate. You can get the job done with this ability. Fills a turn meter of this champion by 25% for each enemy killed. So heck, man, if you're killing 4 enemies, it doesn't take a math guru to know that he'll have full turn meter and come back around again, and then hits with Disintegrate, lands some poisons as well. So I really like Kale for that A2 ability. It has, I believe, a 4.65 multiplier on it. That's really, really high for a rare champion, especially a starting champion. Kale is just amazing because he has so much utility. Poisons for Dragon, poisons for Clan Boss, and again, one of the better arena nukers in the game as well. But number 1 on the list, guys, anybody, any guesses here? Yeah, that's right. It's going to be none other than Marquez.
You betrayed.
Marquez is really, really good for a nuker. She's one-dimensional champion. She's one-dimensional, but she has really good multipliers on Crush the Weak. She's a defense-based nuker. She is a little slow, but she's defense-based. What does that mean? It means that you can build her to kind of be tanky. Even if you don't go first, oftentimes you can still win if Marquez is on your team, guys. She's a really, really good nuker. She needs a setup though, right? So she's attacking all enemies. She has a 50% chance of placing a weaken debuff for 2 turns. It deals extra damage to enemies with the weaken debuff, okay? So she has a 50-50 shot of landing it, so even if you don't have another weakened champion in your, you know, your arsenal anywhere in your collection, she still has a 50-50 of dealing extra damage on a very hard-hitting attack, right? But if you can set her up with another weakened champion, she's guaranteed to land that extra weaken. So, you know, get anybody who has an AoE weaken, any of them, right? A champion like Ashe Walker, for example. Ryan the Conjurer is even better, way better, as a setup, a Doom Tower normal champion. But either way, guys, if you can set her up with the weekend, she can smack, she can crush with this A2 ability. The hardest hitting AoE attack out of any rare inside the game when you land that extra hit. It's really close to, but not quite as equal, but close to what you can expect from Magnar, one of the best epic nukers. What you can expect from Trunda's Forge Rhythm ability, her A3. I mean, it's not quite, again, I'm not trying to compare her to Trunda, but she can smack. We're talking over, you know, 70 to 100K per hit times 2. So that's my number 1 nuker for the arena. Guys, who do you agree with? Who do you disagree with? Who did I leave off the list? One final honorable mention, guys, just if you want to have some fun. Definitely not one of the better nukers out there, but Daywalker, right? Revises champion with 30% HP and attacks all enemies after being killed. The attack cannot be critical, but has a 6.2 multiplier on it. Just for fun, just for fun. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Really appreciate you guys. And as always, take care, guys.